Hey, I'm Decathlon Gamer. Welcome back to Vicky 3, Episode 3. This, of course, is the Sick Man of Europe Ottoman Empire series, and we've already surpassed the Sick Man of Europe stage. We accomplished it. We achieved the goal. We had about 3.5 years to spare. We finished the 4 journal entries, so it was a success. But it is followed up with more negatives, but those negatives have not kicked in. Now, reason for that? Probably timeline. There's probably some sort of timeline, and it was not an immediate move into the other one. There might be a 5-year cooldown, 10-year cooldown, or a specific date where it will trigger. At some point, the second stage of this will kick in. The second stage will be less severe because we succeeded in the Sick Man of Europe challenge. That being said, for now, we're in the free and clear to behave like a map maker, like a map painter. And we're going to go ahead and try to paint that map as best we can. We're going to go ahead and try to match the might of our neighbors who combined are quite strong. Our neighbor, our ally right now is Spain. They're definitely not as strong as us. I mean, they are weaker than Egypt, who we've just now beat up on twice. They're not great for that. France, just about willing to be our friend and very much strong. But as much as they were willing to be our friend, and right now they're not quite, even so, we would have to ditch Spain as an ally, and they would have to ditch whoever they are allied to right now, which is Prussia. And Prussia's the other one that I would kind of like to be. Great Britain does not like us, and that is a bit of a concern because they're pretty dang strong. They have no ally. They have no ally at all. They are doing kind of their own thing in the world. They hate us less than before. That's definitely a good thing, and I think we can afford to work on improving those relations. Now, we've done a little bit of additive work. Moldavia, as we've checked on a few times, it's easy to reduce the autonomy, but Russia continues to be prepared to stand by their side, and we cannot handle the might of Russia. So Moldavia continues to not be a thing. But as for reduce autonomy to full puppet status for minimal infamy, let's do it. That's done. Wallachia. Speaking of, we can do the same thing. No, they will not accept. So just Wallachia and Tripolitania are puppeted. As for the annexation, no. Annexation is not happening at this point. So we've got very little infamy. We are prepared to do some expansion work ourselves. Egypt, well, that's probably still going to be a truce for a number of years. 18 months, actually. Not too bad on that front. Persia is the other obvious target in the short term for expanding our borders outside of going beyond the immediate home region. They do have a defensive pact with Afghanistan and Kalat and Nejd. They have truces with the UK. Tabriz would definitely come with some infamy. They will definitely not accept. There isn't a major threat to stand in our way here, but they would definitely have a couple of allies. So Afghanistan 460, Kalat 347, 21. Persia themselves 1359. So we do have a pretty healthy advantage. What we don't have though is room for a whole lot of infamy. And Tabriz 13.9. That would be about all I would take right there, is 2 states, at least initially. That would take quite a while for that infamy to degrade. At this point I think I'm more tempted to finish the job when it comes to Egypt, especially as they have no allies. And it's already down to 15 months. It's going very, very quickly. Our appointed bureaucrats, it looks like it's about to be a proper failure. Down to 3%, and they are beaten up. That that could be a method, actually. That could be a useful tool. Somebody else in charge, give them something that will definitely fail and let the negatives hurt them as a party. Had not thought of that. Had not thought of that as an approach. That could be a useful strategy for sure. Ionia is still a protectorate of the UK, so they're not a target. Tunis, they're a protectorate of ours too. I had no idea. Okay, what about reducing their autonomy? They will accept. We're down to a 0% success, and it looks like it's kicking off as. There you go. It's done. So that is a failure. That's going to be ended up timing out on us. But our last step to get munitions up and running is going to be done here in just a moment. And there you go. That's going to clear up here pretty soon. In the meantime, we do have the ability to go on and construct other things. As for market price, it's those two, but that's going to really start to take off. This demand can be met now that we have a factory. Once it starts employing people, they'll start making explosives, which means they'll start producing munitions, and then that'll go up towards demand, and this will go up as well, but it'll bring both of those prices down into a reasonable state. Coal right now is the highest offset. Food is the other, so coal and food it is. We don't even have a coal mine yet. That's shocking. There we go. The munitions already. Demand is now being met, and we're going to see, the explosives part, the munitions, is going to start to resolve itself here pretty quickly. The shortages are cleared up, though it's still building itself as an industry. But in the meantime, the arms industry, rifling, is now available to us, so we can produce additional small arms at the cost of more tools, less iron, more steel, less hardwood. Let's go ahead and make that transition here early on where we can. That immediately puts the demand onto steel, but that's an easy enough fix. Another thing is we retook those states. The infamy's gone, so we're going to start here in a moment looking once again at our options going forward. Let's make sure we've already done the Greek states that we took. They're still incorporating, but they are. So all of those states are complete. Cyprus, these 6, most of them had just that 5-year window as it was return, and so they were done pretty easily. But you get into the new states that we just took, the last 4, they are not incorporated. So let's go ahead and get those incorporated, especially as we have spare bureaucracy. These are only going to take 5 years. We'll get bonuses once we manage to get that done, though. Turmoil is relatively high in those regions. I think Egypt is now a viable target for us. It is. Now, they have a customs union with Russia. Russia trying to influence them as our enemy, but definitely not friends, and they can't take them on anyway. We just have to watch out over the fear of them intervening. Yeah, these are all conquer state. They've got 6 left. We're looking at 4, under 4 infamy, under 10 infamy for each of those. Blue Nile's the one bigger one, so maybe you start with Blue Nile, which means it's kind of a guaranteed, and then go from there on the others. They're less likely to accept if you do that. Russia predicted to join Egypt. Russia is predicted to join Egypt. We have our hands full with this one. We do have rivalry. I think we need to end it. The last thing we need is the number 2 nation in the world being rather problematic. There's no benefit to us having that rivalry. Right? It costs influence. Or no, we would gain influence for having the rivalry. That's all you're gaining. Right now, what we have can hardly be called a positive balance. It's barely above 1, and we certainly don't have a lot of reserves. But we're going to start toying around with the iron frame buildings, stepping that up, getting the construction going much faster, losing some money for a few weeks and then stepping it back down. That's a it's a nasty way to mess with your economy. It really is. It's not a healthy way of doing things. Infamy's gone. We cannot attack Egypt right now, as they are backed by Russia. So that being said, I think we're back on Persia as our next neighbor. And again, they are significantly below us. And as a state, Tabriz, the GDP it's huge. It's 24% of their entire nation. So it's the biggest state. You take that away from Persia and you drastically weaken Persia, and it's a pretty healthy boost for us. I mean, looking at that GDP, how green that is. I think it's stronger than any of our individual states other than recent acquisition, Lower Egypt. Tabriz is going to be pretty dang helpful. It's got 2 million people as well. A little less than 10% of our population that we would be adding in. And meanwhile, you get Luristan as well. So we're going to add 2 states theoretically. So I think that's a good move, and it's a good place to start. Or not. Great Qing. Since when did they have interest in the region? They certainly didn't just a handful of years ago. That's changed in a bad way. Bahrain is no longer tied to Great Britain, it looks like. Will they accept protectorate status? No, but if we go into conquer, easy. Let's go ahead and get them deployed. It's a long way around. We should be able to do a land connection from here. Let's get our smallest force mobilized. Let's go ahead and move them down to Arabia, as they will have to do an invasion to complete this job. This will be our first foray into the Persian Gulf or the Red Sea, and begin our expansion outward, away from the homeland. Right now, inward is not a thing, right? Austria in the way. 2 Sicilies would be a much easier target. Pushing west, like Toghert, would definitely be another easier target, or Morocco is probably, at this point, an easier one, because Tunis is not a full-blown puppet yet. No one coming to their aid. They have not backed down, so the war will be on here in just a moment. Timing on this, as both of these units are in place. We're going to go ahead and plan a naval invasion. 13 days. 13 days is all it's going to take. We prepared ahead of time. Oh, that's okay. New feature in 1.6. Your allies, you can use their ports for your troops and your navies. Okay. Well, actually, you know what? Don't return back to Anatolia. New state, easy to incorporate, though it's going to take taking as long as I thought it would. Only 5 years. Kind of figured from there that would be one of those 21-year projects. It's not. Infamy's already cleared up. My oh my, that was fast. Alright, let's open ourselves up to that possibility of expansion into Ethiopia as kind of our next window. We've already done quite a bit to take our balance from anywhere from 0 to 500 up to 7k now. But that negative, that offset was minus 20 and then minus 18. It's looking like it'd probably be about minus 13 right now. And at 488, that's still not enough. We have a bit more to go before we can permanently stay. The other thing also is we have a huge problem right here of no one likes us. No one. That our interest groups are all negative. As much as I hate to do it right now, we have upgradable units, and I think we're going to have to. It is going to impact the economy negatively at first, but as we've built up that munitions and small arms industry, that's where it's going. It's going towards that, and so it will scale up. I think the cost for the military will initially hurt us, but I think we'll. So for now, the big markup is the explosives and the steel, but of course I just scaled up the explosives and the demand on that, so we can see the sell orders are going up rather quickly to catch up with the new buy orders, bringing that one right on down. So we're now looking at steel, which our second steel building is constructing right now. So I think that one's going to be offset here pretty quickly. So we're back to coal, munitions. Of course, the demand just went up for that, so I think that's still offsetting. But furniture is the next one. So coal and furniture. Looks like we've already largely bounced back from the first army getting the upgrade. Let's go ahead and go straight into the next one because it's really behind. Current stream of tech is complete, so getting in here, and you can see we have all of the initial few rows, and then it starts to get a little more advanced. We have the nitroglycerin and the intensive agriculture already. The mechanical tools would certainly be helpful, especially as that's going to open up railways, and we are going to need that before too long. But on the military path, we had a big bonus, and I think we've spent the years. Pretty sure we're past the happy zone on those years. Triage is still there, and only 34 months to complete. A couple naval ones. For now, anyway, we're not looking to have the strongest navy around, so it might be time for some societal improvements. The banking, going to be done fast. That's going to help us with those finances a little bit. Let's help it along. The romanticism is also going to be quick, and it's kind of out of date. We need to get into that, get it done. And then you're getting into a row that's further ahead. So I think that's our short-term goal, is to get those two done, and then we'll check back in. The minting and the loan interest gave us an instant boost of about 2K. It's not huge, but long term has a definite impact on what we're doing. Right now we are the last great power. The only one who really doesn't like us is Russia, and we are working on improving that relation. Austria likes us a little bit. The US is very neutral with a -2, but France likes us. Great Britain is starting to like us. Spain, our ally, is next behind us. We're 7th, they're 8th. They like us. Mexico and the Netherlands are not ones to be concerned about, nor Brazil for that matter. So things are looking really good on that front. And as for, gosh, where even is China falling into all this without any sort of recognition? Looking around again, Serbia will accept this time the reduction of autonomy. This makes them a full puppet now. Moldova remains the only one that we can't do anything with. We still are the protectorate, but they do have a defensive pact with Russia. So I think asking to reduce their autonomy, they're going to have to accept for us to have any chance. And actually, 54% chance, not good enough. Not going to risk war with Russia over that. That back down would be pretty bad. France, growing. France is definitely growing through colonization. Assuming Egypt would still have the backing of Russia. I wonder, the Blue Nile thing they will definitely not accept. But what if we ask for something weaker? They still would not accept. Persia still have the backing of Great Qing. They do, with their 12,000 military might and 42 flotillas, which is not a lot. You could almost keep them out, but you can't quite, especially if those units get there before the war starts. But we do have our next target. We're going to go beyond Egypt for now, and we'll try to link up that border eventually. We're sitting idle too long here. We've had a chance to recover from that latest army upgrade, getting us closer to full upgrade. We'll see how strong that makes our army before we go any further. Well, here, you can see right now. 5,600. That's doing well. We're up from 4K on that, and we're definitely not done with our conversion. It should bring us up to about 7K here eventually. We do have, of course, our underlings adding additional regiments for us, including some conscripts there. But AUSA army projection is 90. They're going to be a very, very easy target for us. Ooh, over there. I'd be happy to take that as well. It borders Great Britain. It could add some tension with them, which we certainly don't want, but this is kind of up targeting this area next and what I can of this area, but a lot of this, like, we've got Great Britain influence on both of them already. Great Qing there, so Egypt here, we're kind of having to skip over. Very low infamy. Small chance that they'll actually accept, but it's a very small chance. This time we have an army in the Nile. We'll keep them stationed, just make them active. We're going to stall a little bit before we start adding to our war goal. At the moment, no one is leaning their way, and some are starting to drop out of the potential conflict. Russia's the main one we want to make sure that they get out of. The UK is out of it. It's only 4 infamy to take the second state. They were not joined, so we'll go ahead and push for the full annexation. That should do it. So we'll get full annexation, minimal infamy. Just 12 days. We'll have a little more resistance this time, as they do have 6 armies to... Alright, there's our 2 short goals complete. Now back to the drawing board. Society-wise, we're... Okay, this row has now gotten a lot cheaper. We're talking about regular research time now. And there could be a couple good ones, like central banking. Could add another 2 or 3K to what we have. We could start up a company with 20 million in GDP, number 8 in the world. That corporate charter could be a handy thing. Could be a good way to get a really healthy bonus. Weekly construction progress bonus. That's an obvious thing that we've been targeting for a while. So we're gonna spend some time here in the societal upgrade range. A wide number of economic reforms. As for our 2 new states, we have plenty. These are finally the ones that are going to take a while. 21 years. We have no established states in the region, so it's going to take quite a while to get those done. Speaking of, you can see these 4. They're already nearly done. Just 7 months remaining. Well, we still have 6 years to go there, while Attica is done. And we're back up to a decent balance of 6K. Let's go ahead and, first off, eliminate these guys. Add them to, okay, our smallest army. Upgrade, oh yeah. It's all 40. All 40. Big upgrade. That's going to bring us right back down to about 0. First time in a while, there's a law that we might be able to actually change. It's been a long time coming. It's been hard. The intelligentsia have no power and very little support. And the groups that do have the power and support don't want to see any changes. They like things as they are. But the things as they are really holding us back. The Sudi Ulema have a plus 30 on political strength right now for state religion. This would cut that in half. We'll give them a shot. See what we can do to get that through. And actually, there's the intelligentsia want to see that completed right now, as it is. The next state on our marching orders. Right. There was only 8% not even 8%, it was like 4 or 5% that were against it. And suddenly we're going to have a revolution over keeping the state religion. Sunni ulama suddenly are interested now that the topic is being introduced. We're going to need success early, but at just 50%, this is more of just resistance. Soft resistance. This could disappear quite easily. 50 is the threshold, 49, and it'll disappear. It takes 100 to get there, and it won't go past 50 without events. But we immediately stall and have a big negative, even though we had a 70% chance of success. Not good luck. Not good luck. We will go with the enactment time. We've got to give this thing a decent chance. It's got a 70% chance of going the right direction. And just like that, it's down to a 49. And that fear of revolution goes away. We're going to go ahead and go through with what I was planning, which is Isaac. 5 infamy, and looks like Kaffa might want to join them. They're weak. Kaffa is inland anyway and won't be able to do anything. So let's go ahead and get... They're supposed to be at the Nile. I literally got to side with them. I literally assigned this army not once but twice. 41 days to get there though. Law progressed to consideration. This is a single state. Nothing we could do with Kaffa. Kaffa might have joined the war, but they're out of range. They have no way to send troops there, so without any war goals, this thing will still end abruptly once we've taken the target. This time we do find success and advance plus 15%. Help the intelligentsia. Let's do that. We need to grow the intelligentsia. Passing this will help make them happier, as they're down to a -5 now from a -19. The Sunni ulama hate us right now for doing this. How is... Oh, right. I didn't get a plus 15. It was just the intelligentsia got stronger and happier. That gave us a +9. Job done. Another state conquered. It is a separate state, so I'll have to start incorporating it separately on its own. But we now have a pretty solid presence there on the coastline along the Red Sea, which we already had a bit of a presence up here, as it were. Okay, we have recovered. We're back to a positive balance. We've advanced once again. Love that, but that's one state only. That is a bigger, powerful boost. We'll take that. One state full of loyalists is nice. We don't have very many loyalists as it is. It's just keeping the upset group to a minimum. Don't let them get too upset. And speaking of upset, like, they're upset, but we're not overdoing it. And this is going to get tricky. But the thing is, status quo, they don't have issues with. It's what you just start making gains, and you have to make them want it. So it's a slow process to change the mind of your people in this game, and especially in a nation such as the Ottoman Empire, and kind of those negatives that we face. And I'm surprised that we haven't triggered that follow-up event to the sick man of Europe just yet. Kind of figured it would have kicked in by now, but They said it's probably got some form of timeline on it. But we're now looking at 82% chance to either succeed or advance. We're still in consideration though, so we've got a little ways still to go on this project, but it's definitely leaning towards passing. We've already handled the infamy down to 0.1 right now. The last army that needed upgrading. Oh, we picked up additional troops once again. Let's go ahead and shift them over. There we go. Progress to adoption. We're down to the last stage. And this is the last army needing upgrade. Smaller army should come with a bit of a smaller cost. Still climbing as that transition's happening, but you can see we're approaching 6,300 for our strength now. Glad we didn't have to rely on the literacy rate, and actually it's dropped a little bit, probably with the addition of these new states that we've just conquered, but our literacy rate is pretty bad and has not improved much. But that's the thing about kind of where we're at politically, where we have none of the laws. Child labor, the legal guardianship, there's nothing here. These are all in their worst case scenario. Here on the economy side, no schools, no health system, no police. Like, these are almost all as bad as they can be. These are close to that. So finally getting something changed, and it stalls. Like, we had an 83% chance, and it stalls again. Out of 5 times, it's done that twice, and surprising once is the situation on that. But here we are, being enacted. That's success. We don't want to hurt that one. This is the one that's okay. We've got to push this through. The pop attractions had a bunch of bonuses. We need to get this through. Like I said, we haven't been able to get anywhere with the government in quite some time. Checking in on the economy and where we're at. Let's start with the balance. Wood, clothes, grain are all pretty bad, though not huge markups. Let's do a little bit about that before we worry about market prices necessarily. Wood is getting a boost, as I've been doing some, so we'll only do a little bit more for now. Grain was a big one. We have wheat, but let's go ahead and push rice for... Actually, this is one way to deal with that. Artillery. If we switch to the smooth bores, we're at 65% right now. Big chance of success here. 89% chance of not having the same issue for the 3rd time. And we have it. Freedom of conscience. This has been such a process, but that's going to hurt the Sunni ulema. That gives them less power, which is going to probably see their group shrink. Will ultimately kind of put us in a position where the things that some of these other groups actually want have a chance to succeed. The industrialists like us now. The intelligentsia like us a lot better, but still don't like us. But we have our first bonus, which is plus 10% production research speed, which is nice. So this time we have managed to take about 10 years, I think, out of the clock. And we've made minor expansions during that time. We've furthered our position in terms of puppeting some of our subjects. We have 5 of them. But we definitely picked up some new states and have started expanding, beyond our close reach, but we've not been able to expand into Persia or Egypt because of two powerhouses who very much stand in our way. But speaking of powerhouses, we've gone a long ways within this episode to make nice. Make nice with most of those powerhouses. Russia still does not like us. Yeah, relations are generally better. Their just attitude is still pretty negative towards us, but the general relations themselves have cooled significantly. As we've already noted, yeah, Russia down to a minus 28. That was a lot worse than it was. And even, yeah, Great Britain generally likes us now. There's a lot of happy relationships in this area. So good things are happening when it comes to our status in the world. We've already cleared up whatever recent infamy we grabbed. Two Sicilies could potentially be a target for us, a larger target that could see us expand and actually expand within Europe, which is not something we've done much of other than a couple tiny players. Right now we're trying to be the biggest power within the Middle East, and arguably we already are. It's just we've got others that have their eyes on the region as well. Great Britain, Russia, Great Qing are all obstacles towards our dominance, but we're finding ways to expand at least a bit for now. And then, of course, just in the last couple of minutes here, we finally, for the first time, got something through, got some sort of progress, some sort of reform through our government, which has been a constant thorn in our side in those departments, as there's just no interest. Our population is very content living in the dark ages. That is going to do it for this episode, though. I'm Decathlon Gamer. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Have a good one. Be safe out there. Bye for now.